The crack of splintering would jolted me from my morning coffee, the mug still warm in my hands. I stumbled outside, barefoot in my old plaid pajamas, and froze. Dust clouded the air. An excavator's claw gleamed in the sun, and there, perched on folding chairs like they were at a county fair, sat 3 HOA board members. Lisa, the ringleader, wore a sash that read, "Water belongs to the HOA." My dammy blood, sweat, and 3 years of work was gone, reduced to a pile of rubble. I stood there, blinking at the wreckage, the claw still hovering like a vulture. You're probably wondering how it all went so wrong. They say you don't really know your neighbors until you build something they can't wrap their heads around. For me, that was the summer I finished the dam. It wasn't some hulking concrete beast, just a reinforced earth and stone wall with a sluice gate I'd pieced together myself. Every rock, every timber, every sandbag was set with care, backed by hydrology charts, erosion studies, and late-night talks with my uncle, a retired Army Corps engineer. My land sits high on a ridge above Willow Creek Estates, a cookie-cutter HOA maze of beige houses and manicured lawns, where even the mulch comes in 2 approved shades. What those folks never bothered to notice was their whole neighborhood sat in a floodplain that used to drown every 5 to 7 years. When I bought the land, I redirected the runoff through channels, and the dam was the final two-cha shield to hold back the rain surges and release them slow and steady through spillways. It worked like magic. For 2 years, nobody even knew it was there. Then Lisa moved in. She got herself elected HOA president faster than you can say bylaws, and suddenly she noticed things. Her mulch wasn't washing away in spring. The creek behind her house was a trickle, not a torrent. She didn't understand why, and that made her dangerous. Trouble showed up at my fence one day in the form of Lisa in white jeans and a scowl like she'd bitten into a sour grape. "I'm here about the structure," she said, VYing at the dam, which wasn't even VY-sible from her spot. "It's not in harmony with the neighborhood's aesthetic." I told her my land wasn't under HOA rule, that I had permits from the county, the water district, even the soil drainage office. She squinted. "It's a safety concern. If there's no water, what are you holding back? It's suspicious." That word suspiciousing like a storm cloud. Over the next month, the HOA buried me in paper. 17 violation notices, each one crazier than the last. Unauthorized earthwork, unsanctioned water containment, even hydrological confusion. I wasn't even a member, but they fined me due Law 300 for that last one. I framed it. Then came threats to report me to the EPA, FEMA, you name it. I fired back with certified letters, my permits photocopied and highlighted. That's when the flyers started glossy warnings stuffed in every mailbox about the shadow reservoir on my land, like I was brewing a biblical flood. I could have sued for slander, but I didn't. I set up trail cams, locked the dam's gate with a welded chain, and waited. Then I made a mistake. I left town for my cousin's wedding in Montana, gone for just 48 hours. I checked the spillways, packed the retaining wall with gravel, and left a no trespassing sign by the trailhead. When I got back, the air felt wrong, like opening a fridge and catching a whiff of something dead. My boots crunched up the slope, and when I crested the ridge, my stomach sank. The dam was gone bulldozed flat, nothing left but a gash in the dirt and a twisted piece of the sluice gate stabbed into the mud like a gravestone. Tire tracks led straight to Willow Creek Estates. A laminated HOA sign fluttered on a stake. Removal of unauthorized structure per section 8.3. No signatures, no date, just their letterhead and smugness. I checked the trail cams. First one gone. Second, ripped off its mount. Third, smashed with a rock. But I'm not dumb, I had backups, tiny recorders in the dam's control box. The footage made my blood freeze. 2 guys in orange vests, no logos, snipped the chain with bolt cutters. A rented bobcat roared in, tearing at the dam's base. Lisa stood there, HOA badge pinned to her chest, sipping iced coffee and barking, "Clear it all. It's an eyesore. If you want a reservoir, he should have asked us." Asked them? On my land, with my permits? I burned with rage, but kept calm. I copied the footage, printed my permits, and drove to the county office. I filed reports, called my water engineer, got damage estimates. Due law 42,000, not counting the ecological fallout. That dam wasn't just a wall, it held back 170,000 gallons of floodwater from slamming into a sub-VY shound built on clay with outdated drains. Monsoon season was 2 weeks out. The rain started soft, like a friend tapping your window. But I've been tracking NOAA data, and this was no ordinary storm. A Gulf front had smashed into a stalled cold system, promising a week of relentless downpour, a once-in-a-decade deluge. Without the dam, every drop would race downhill. 6 days after the demolition, the rain turned VY Sias, hammering my roof like gunfire. I'd filed police reports, NVY environmental complaints, but got nothing but a county apology and a shrug toward small claims court. The HOA went silent, hiding behind their power-washed fences. By day 2, the soil was mush. By day 3, my trail was sludge. I walked the ridge daily, raincoat soaked, watching water pool where the dam once stood. I'd rigged temporary barriers, but they couldn't handle the volume. The runoff charged straight into Willow Creek Estates, a neighborhood that bragged about its elegant drainage solutions. At 2:37 a.m. on the 4th night, a wet crack split the dark. I bolted to the window, heart racing, and heard the roar of MOVYing earth. Flashlight in hand, I ran into the storm. Down the ridge, water wasn't trickling, it was charging, a brown torrent ripping through the HOA's boundary like a mudslide in a disaster flick. Lisa's cul-de-sac was a war zone. Her faux stone retaining wall had collapsed, a 30-foot chunk shattered on the slope. Her backyard, once a koi pond paradise, was a swamp, patio chairs floating like driftwood. The street below was a river carrying mulch, bins, and a garden gnome that smashed a window like a missile. It was chaos biblical, almost. I filmed it all. The breach, the buckling sidewalks, the for sale sign drifting like it was on vacation. By dawn, emergency crews waded through the wreckage. Lisa, in a pink robe, screamed into her phone as firefighters rafted through her yard. Her hydrangeas drowned, her mailbox vanished. Our eyes met across the flood, and I waved, slow and deliberate. That afternoon, the county emergency manager knocked on my door. "Mr. Carter? Parcel 83B. I showed her everything: permits, blueprints, drone scans, the VY Deo of Lisa's demolition crew. She took notes, her face grim. "This triggered a floodplain reclassification," she said. "Insurance hikes, retrofits, big liability." I raised an eyebrow. "HOA's liable." She nodded. "They're blaming you. Filed a complaint saying you removed a storm barrier." I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. "My dom, my land, my permits." The HOA doubled down, suing me for gross negligence and reckless terrain modification. They claimed I'd abandoned the dam, let it rot, and removed it to flood them. Lisa posted a typo-filled rant online, calling me a rogue hydrologist, endangering the community. But their story had a fatal flaw. By blaming the dam's absence, they admitted it was necessary, making their unauthorized demolition not just wrong, but negligent. My attorney, Emma, cackled when I showed her the EVY Denke. "This is malpractice wrapped in arrogance," she said. "We spread it all out. Permits stamped by 3 agencies, engineering diagrams, drone footage, and Lisa's voice on tape saying, 'Clear it all.' The HOA's own minutes sealed their fate. Take care of the damn issue while he's gone." In court, their lawyer painted me as a loner with a god complex. Emma countered with the footage dam intact, then gone, followed by the mudslide tearing through Lisa's yard. The jury saw my permits, then the HOA's damning notes. The contractor, a Craigslist hire, admitted Lisa told him I'd thank them later. The jury wasn't confused, they were furious. The judge threw out the HOA's suit, calling it malicious. Our countersuit won on 4 counts: unlawful demolition, property damage, NVY environmental violations, and negligent flooding. The HOA owed Dula $1.87 million for the dam, Dula $620,000 for remediation, Dula $130,000 in fees, and Dula $500,000 in punitive damages. I walked out with a check bigger than the dam's cost. Lisa was ousted as president. The board crumbled, and the HOA dissolved after audits exposed years of scams. Lisa's nephew got triple-rate contracts, and their emergency fund was spent on steak dinners. Lisa mortgaged her house, sold her BMW, and fled to a suburb. Her home sold at a loss under a screaming orange sign. I rebuilt the dam, but this time, neighbors helped Vince, who'd snubbed me at the feed store, Martha, whose garden drowned, even the Lopez twins, their basement still moldy. We stacked stones under a clear sky. No talk of the trial, just a quiet respect for the land. I bolted a sign by the spillway. Next time, ask the guy who understands JARA-VY tie, with the dam specs and permit number. The flood made believers of them all. Even the HOA holdouts now nod when they pass. The creek flows, the frogs croak, and kids splash in the shallows. The land breathes easy again, and so do I, knowing what we built together will hold.